years in FBLA, some of my best memories include safety glasses, the hum of power tools, and the smell of freshly cut wood. While the name FBLA typically brings to mind images of students in business attire, listening to guest speakers, attending workshops, and participating in conferences, I would argue that the time my chapter has spent working in our school's wood shop represents the pinnacle of service, education, and progress. My name is Caroline Cordani, and today I would like to discuss how FBLA enables students to develop projects that benefit their communities, fosters patriotism, and facilitates the transition from school to work. In December of 2018, I led Simsbury FBLA in the development of Pens for Patriots, a community service project that has become central to our chapter for the last few years. While the current pandemic has put the project on hold, before March of 2020, we held weekly pen-making sessions in our school woodshop, during which students turned solid blocks of wood into custom wooden pens. We then sold these pens in our FBLA school store to raise money for the Achilles Freedom Team, which helps veterans to be physically active and participate in mainstream running events. The project has raised $5,000 for Achilles and is a shining example of the goals and principles of FBLA. We'll start with the principle of service. FBLA, and Simsbury FBLA in particular, encourages members to engage in service by allowing them to develop projects that benefit their communities. The skills I developed in my first year and a half in FBLA allowed me to develop and lead Pens for Patriots beginning in my sophomore year. Our numerous guest speakers gave us valuable leadership advice, while my time as vice president of the school store gave me the sales experience necessary to market and sell our pens. Now, while I will acknowledge that Pens for Patriots isn't exactly an individual project, what started with my initial interest in supporting Achilles grew into a chapter-wide initiative because of the second principle of FBLA, education. Simsbury FBLA has upheld the principle of education to foster patriotism within its members through a variety of influential guest speakers. While the Achilles Freedom Team has always been very important to me individually, growing Pens for Patriots into what it is today required teaching our members about the incredible ways that the organization supports its athletes. To accomplish this, we invited Achilles athletes and mentors to speak to our chapter about their experiences with the organization. One of these speakers, an Army Ranger and double amputee, advised us to keep fighting for you and you will encourage others to do the same, a mantra that has motivated him both in the Army and on the marathon course. His inspiring story and experience with Achilles was a reminder to myself and to others of what Pens for Patriots is for. The education we've received from our guest speakers has fostered patriotism within our chapter, instilling in its members a passion for supporting veterans and ensuring that Pens for Patriots will remain central to Simsbury FBLA for years to come. Finally, there's the principle of progress, dependent on the understanding and cooperation of business, industrial, labor, educational, family, and religious institutions. Through this principle, Simsbury FBLA facilitates the transition from school to work for its members. It accomplishes this through the collaboration between FBLA, representing business, and the Technology and Engineering Education Department, representing industry. FBLA members step out of their comfort zones by getting their hands dirty in the woodshop, while tech ed teachers and students give their time to teach our members how to turn wooden pens. This prepares the students for the transition from school to work. Learning to cooperate and collaborate with others with vastly different interests and course loads has given us the communication skills that we will need to be successful as we prepare to enter the workforce. Through the principle of progress and the collaboration between business and industry, Pens for Patriots has facilitated the transition from school to work for members of Simsbury FBLA. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that FBLA has given me over the last 4 years. Leading Pens for Patriots has easily been the most rewarding experience I've had in high school. And while it may not fit the mold of a typical FBLA activity, Pens for Patriots clearly upholds the goals of FBLA while representing the key principles of service, education, and progress. Members are encouraged to engage in service by developing projects that support their communities, and the education that we've received from guest speakers has fostered patriotism within the chapter. Finally, through the principle of progress, FBLA has prepared members of Simsbury FBLA for the transition from school to work. Through these principles and the Pens for Patriots project, FBLA has successfully achieved its goals within Simsbury FBLA and created future business leaders within the chapter. Thank you.